Panchatatva was a word coined by Vishy. Vishy Hariharan was, a VP HR at a certain stint of time. If you see that, the first one is ownership, and the second is responsive, integrity, farsightedness, and curiosity. I don't want to get into, every one of them because the panelists are going to talk about that. But a couple of them is that whenever people join the organization, we always tell them that, it's an entrepreneurial organization. You need to be curious. You need to take ownership and take up responsibilities, make mistakes during this time. But, you can make a mistake only once. Do not make the mistake again. That's what, we tell people to join us. Second is responsiveness. We've learned it the hard way that we have to really be responsive sometimes, even when it hurts. So some customers who have hurt us badly, they are the ones who, give us the best references. And last but not the least, integrity. I think that's the hallmark of these 5, pillars of Panchatatva. I think, this is written in stone, and, we do not compromise by this.
I know a friend of mine who was what you would call an absolute lazy bum, right? Someone who shirks work. But you should watch him when he cleans his Royal Enfield 500cc Bullet. And it's like you're looking at a completely different person. Somehow, when he looks after his Royal Enfield Bullet, the best in him comes out. And there isn't a single speck of dirt when he is finished. And I think it's that quality of ownership that we're trying to reflect on. Every one of us has ownership already. We just choose to have it in some areas of our life and choose not to have it in some areas of our life. And I think the challenge for all of us as human beings is that sometimes we have excellent qualities that we may demonstrate in our personal life, but we end up with different standards in work life. And really the truth is that there is no work and life, there's just life. And therefore, for us to exhibit a sense of ownership, it should be something that pervades everything we do, whether I'm in the office dealing with a client or in a team meeting, or whether I'm at home. A sense of ownership gives us a wonderful sense of who we are, our own identity, our own standards. And therefore, I think it should be something that becomes a true statement for all of us, that when we come to work, we're not working for a boss or someone outside. We're working for a high standard that we have set for ourselves. Many companies, as they grow, they increase the number of rules, they increase the number of policies, they increase the number of processes, and therefore they curtail freedom. And that almost reduces the ownership culture. Are we going to be operating every day based on rules and policies, or am I going to operate from that sense of ownership that I have? And that's why I think it's a good benchmark for us as an organization, as bosses, as team leaders, that how many times do I have to rely on a rule or a policy to make something happen? The more I have to do that, the bigger my policy manual, then it means that we are struggling on the sense of ownership. And I think here it's a worthwhile point to mention to those of us who are operating in supervisory roles. If I get someone to do a particular job and tell him that you have to do the job, and then if I'm hovering all the time, and if I'm saying, did you do this in the morning? And then 10 minutes later, I'm asking, did you do this? And 15 minutes later, I'm asking, did you do this? Then I'm taking away that sense of ownership. I'm taking away that sense of freedom. And I'm literally, not nurturing that ownership with my team members here. And therefore, I think it's something worthwhile for us, all of us, to reflect on, because with that sense of ownership comes tremendous freedom to be able to perform and to be a better version of ourselves. And in that process, we end up contributing to the organization and making the organization a better version of itself. Another meaning of the word racket is scam, right? You have a lottery racket, or you have a kidney organ donation racket. We often rely on this scam, right? We find somebody or something to blame when something goes wrong, rather than taking responsibility. It's human nature for us to find somebody or something to blame. But the challenge for us, I think, is can we resist that temptation and take responsibility? Is that a sense of ownership, which also comes, leading on to responsiveness, comes when, again, we resist a human temptation. A human temptation is that we will stay with what is good, avoid the bad, and absolutely avoid the ugly. You can see the picture of that toilet door, right? People have taken the trouble to go and put a printout saying that this door is jammed, push hard. But no one has taken the trouble to do the ugly stuff, which is to fix the door, right? So dealing with symptoms, not dealing with root cause, is an example of avoiding the ugly, right? To solve not just symptoms of the problem, but to deal with the root cause. And I think that is something that we all have to learn how we can absorb, not to act out of convenience, but out of commitment. That comes from a sense of ownership, that I will show up on time, not just when it's convenient. I will show up for a team call, not just when it's convenient. I will file my report, not just when it's convenient, but because I've made a commitment, whatever the cost, I will ensure I keep my commitment. When we have to have a difficult conversation, we postpone, or we use euphemisms, or we, dance around the bush. We rarely muster the courage to have a straight talk conversation. And I think that is also a sign of a lack of ownership and responsiveness. Because if I truly value my client, if I truly value my colleague, then I will have the commitment to have a difficult conversation, a straight talk conversation, not a rude conversation. It does not need to be rude. It does not need to be angry, but a straight talk conversation. Panchatatva refers to truths, right? And therefore, the gift of the truth is also something that comes from a sense of ownership. So that is something I think that all of us have to challenge ourselves and ask ourselves if we are, doing the right thing in terms of that.
There are multiple things, we can go over on the types of, integrity and, different aspects of integrity. But I've just taken three important things, which is, related, can be connected to our work also, right? To our daily work and even in our personal lives, right? One of the important things is, being honest, right? It's a very important, component and, healthy and to create a healthy and successful work environment, and a very important, trait to be, honest. It should be part of your, being part of yourself. Like that, it could be, being all honest allows individuals to take responsibility for their work, improve any areas where they may be lacking, and ask for help when necessary. Whether you've done the right thing or the wrong thing, right? Taking accountability is very, very important. Third one is responsibility. Honesty, accountability, and responsibility. There's another important quality that people with integrity possess. The term refers to a person's commitment to doing the task they are assigned and to accept any consequences that come as a result of completing or not completing these tasks. So these are the, kind of three important things I think, I just wanted to touch upon. What are the fruits of integrity, right? What are the results? What are the results of integrity? First one is, you create trust, right? People can count on you, right? Integrity leads to trust, which is another important, very, very important character in today's, work world. You need, people to trust. If you take Gandhi, when during the independence struggle, right? Gandhi did not have any title as Prime Minister or President or Minister or MLA, right? No, he did not have anything, right? There was no formal, power given to him. So he was able to create a tremendous amount of influence on the people, right? Just one person, of course, there was a team of people, but the kind of influence he could have on the people was tremendous. And how it came? Because he was, a man of integrity. And the third is coming to repeat business. I'm bringing it directly to business now. The probability of selling to an existing customer is 60 to 70%,
while the probability of selling to a new prospect is only 5 to 20%. Loyal customers spend 67% more than new ones. It costs up to 7x more to acquire a new customer than to retain an old one. Customer, you might think that I am not responsible to bring in business. I am just a developer, I'm a project manager, I'm managing my project. No. Everybody in the organization, should, wear this hat. What I am doing today is going to impact the company top line as well as the bottom line of the company. Most of all, it's about you. It becomes a compass for decision making. It builds a lot of self-esteem and confidence. Whatever it is said and done, it brings tangible and intangible blessing. What goes around comes around, right? So whatever goodness you've done, it will come back to you in some form or the other.
Contagious curiosity and farsightedness. Now, both these go hand in hand. So let's address curiosity as a concept. Is it the thirst for knowledge, or is it something which is being said or which is being done for being cool? Or is it something inside you which is say, damn, I need to know this? All this together is the curiosity what one should be having as a company or as a person. At a glance, if you look at it, right? The inquisitiveness towards the learning is taking the first step also towards the unknown without fear. So when you look at curiosity, you take that fear out of your head on what will happen if I fail, right? Is it what makes you or keeps you awake at night? Now, when you really look at it, the progress of a nation, or progress of a person, progress of a company, is all about what you're curious about. It fuels the farsightedness, which brings progress and ensures longevity. All the people today, by 2030, your skills will be useless unless you look at what is next and you really take on what is next and understand where things are and be curious about it and have a figure on where are we going, right? And what are we equipping ourselves with? The more and more we are into the future, the faster and faster the growth is going to be. I mean, like, especially with the way things are, exponentially increasing after the invent of the smartphone. 2007 is a year which redefined what we are doing now. It changed social, mobile, analytics, and cloud. And all these for the smack is basically what is completely changing. And for that, and to come to that, you need to have the organizations which are really learning organizations. The organizations should be able to learn. You cannot see far without being curious about what is currently happening around your surroundings. And when you future-proof yourself and the company, right? So you have basically the curiosity quotient within you. That it affects all these four things. It affects the leadership actions. Second is a lot of opportunities for improvement. When people see it, they're curious to see how it can be done, and they suggest it. And when it changes, it actually affects the accepted information, the playbook. How do we do this? Learn something new every day. Work related, play related, anything. Okay. Fail. Okay. Failure isn't a bad word. If you try something new, you will fail. If you're curious, you'll fail. Never forget the lesson. Okay. And failure isn't a bad word at all. Again, when I talk about doing something every day, when was the last time you did something for the first time? It's something which you really have to think about. Because when you do something for the first time, is when your curiosity quotient will increase. Otherwise, you will not have that quotient within you. Keep doing something new every day. And when you learn something, try and be there. And that is a nice balance we all are trying to strike. Everybody wants to be in that confident humility zone. That you're confident, you're competent about it, and you're humble about it, right? Because you need to be humble about it. Because whatever you're curious, how much ever you learn, wherever you come, unless you're humble about what is there, there's no point. It's what is known as the Dunning-Kruger event, right? when you are curious, when you learn also, maximum suddenly you will know everything, right? You feel that, hey, I know everything. And this I know everything is basically what they call in this Dunning-Kruger effect, and that's called Mount Stupid. I know everything is basically where Mount Stupid is. And when you have the learning, so the x-axis is the learning curve, right? The more time which passes by, then people understand there's more to it than I thought. Now it starts making sense, and then you get to a level where you understand, yeah, it is complicated. It is not as easy as I thought. Now, why am I talking about the Dunning-Kruger effect, and why am I talking about confidence here? Why am I talking about imposter syndrome here? These are three things which I want to leave you with, because being curious is one thing. The aftermath of it is learning and then getting you the farsightedness. But even though you get the farsightedness, go fast beyond the Mount Stupid, right? You've got to, the moment you feel that you know everything and you're very highly confident about it, that's when you don't know much actually. Then later on only you get to understand where things are. There is a saying, right? Aim for the stars, you fall on the moon. Okay. And you aim for the moon, you fall on the tree. But don't aim for the tree because you fall on the ground. The reason is be more curious, understand more. This is what will take you forward. And when you apply it to the company or your group, your company, all this put together, it's the same thing, right? So whatever you do will affect the company. Whatever the company does affects you. It's a symbiotic relationship. So my suggestion or my humble request is to aim for the stars, and so that you'll definitely be on the moon at least.